Welcome back to Border Adventures. The last game of the season is complete. Our inaugural season in the Bundesliga is done, and in this episode, we're going to have a little think about what we're going to do over the summer transfer window. We're going to look ahead to next season. We're going to have a look at our form towards the end of this season, and we're also going to have a long overdue catch-up with some of our old friends. So the end of season running wasn't brilliant, to be honest. After that semi-final defeat to Dortmund, we followed it up by losing to Bochum 1-0. And we're pretty poor in that game. We could only beat Cologne 2-1. We looked really good beating Dortmund 3-0, but that was about 3 games too late. We really should have done that in the cup semi-final when it really counted. And then we drew a blank against Frankfurt. We did tinker around with some different tactical scenarios during the last few games because even though our form, bar the first 2 games of the season, was pretty superb. I mean, after that little settling in period where we played Werder Bremen and FC Bayern, we almost went the remainder of the season undefeated. It was only those back-to-back defeats in the cup and against Bochum in the league that led us actually losing our semi-invincibles season. But a lot of these games were draws, or a lot of them were tight wins, 1-0 wins, 2-1 wins. I mean, we barely conceded a goal during the season. If we go to the full season table, if we can actually find it, there we go there. What did we concede in the end? 11 goals. Dortmund won the league, conceding 20. We only conceded 11 in 34 games. Mourinho-esque, if ever you could liken it to a real-life performance. But I felt we got fortunate in a lot of those games. And as the season progressed and we were up near the top of the table, well, it seemed to get harder and harder to break down the smaller teams. So we started experimenting a little bit. I'm not sure these was the smartest experiments that I've ever come up with, but we're thinking about maybe doing something a little bit different for next season. Certainly, if we're going to improve next season, we're going to need a striker that scores goals because neither Petrelli nor Garincha set the world alight. So that's definitely something we need to look at. We're also going to need some stronger fullbacks, I think, because none of the fullbacks we played this season particularly impress. So that's where we're going to spend our money, I think. One player that we would really like to get involved next season, but I just don't think we're going to be able to because of his age, is Giorgi Coppeliani, who is still only 15 years old in the Bundesliga. It won't let us play players who are under 17 years old. But this guy, in a year or so's time, well, he looks like he could be quite a prospect. So we're quite excited about him, but we've got some work to do in the transfer market. We're going to have a look at the end of season awards, see who was voted our best player of the season, and it's Grenache. A little bit surprised by that, if I'm honest. How much did we pay for Grenache? 19 million? He's now worth 30 million. He racked up 11 goals and 7 assists, to be fair. Was that a 7.3 average rating? So, okay, you can see it. Who else did they go for? Peter Wright, who's only on loan. And whether we'd get him back for another season, having had him for 3 years at Luzerne as well, I'm not sure he'd be available. I'm not sure whether we might be able to step up and get a better quality player. But that's definitely another area of the pitch that we might be looking to improve. Let's see what the board wants us to do next year. And I'm worried after finishing second, it could be a big ask. They would like us to qualify for the Europa League. Well, that seems to be lower than they wanted from us in our first campaign. So we shall certainly take that. But if that's what's going to be going on at Stuttgart next season, why don't we go back in time a little bit and check in on some of our old friends and after 9 full seasons of Border Adventures, let's see where our former clubs are now sitting. Where else would you start but MK Shrubbery Glogov? But this does not look good, my friends. When we left them, we just got them promoted to the Polish top flight. Now, we know they only stayed there for 1 year before they got relegated, but it looks like they only survived 1 more year back down in the second tier, and they've now been relegated to the unplayable leagues. Are we still listed amongst their favoured personnel? Absolutely not. I'm not sure we ever were listed amongst their favourite personnel, but none of our old favourites are there either. Maybe if we have a look at Sporting Club Toulon, we might be able to just catch up with some of our old favourites. Maybe the Moose is still there. Maybe Splinter de Moy is still there. Hold your horses, let's find out. So good news, everybody. Sporting Club Toulon are still in the playable leagues and, well, they are still in the French second tier. What did we do with them? Well, we got them promoted to the second tier. We finished 5th and then we finished 4th. Since we left, they've come 16th. That looks like a bit of a close call. 15th and 11th. And this season, it looks like they might have had a bit of a better campaign because it looks like they have come in 7th place this season. So not too bad. They're pretty much as good now, almost, as when we left them. Now, have they got any names in their squad that we will recognise? In fact, let's have a look who's actually in their team. Hedegaard, he was a terrible signing. He's still knocking around. What else we got? Husek. Goodness me, that's a blast from the past. The 6'7" Czech is still there. He can tackle at 11 now. I think that's a bit of an improvement. Never got any international appearances, but he's worth 1.2 million. Well, for a £53,000 signing from Shrewsbury. Oh, no, straight from Sparta Prague, actually, wasn't it? Not too bad. Who else do we know? De Moy! Splinter de Moy. I cannot wait for Splinter de Moy to retire. He is going to be on my coaching staff before you can say dashing headband. Still looks like he cannot pass a football at all. Has he been playing regularly? He has. He's a stalwart. Look at him getting those 6.5 ratings. Where is the Moose? Backpack's still there, but I'm looking for a particular gentleman and I'm not seeing him. Is he part of their... He is. He's an icon. Well, nice that they treasure everything that I did for the club. Zhilovogu is an icon. And has left the game. Morgan at the tender age of 30. Surely he had more to give. Don't tell me that the Moose has retired. He hasn't. I saw the orange kit and thought he was back at Shrewsbury for a second. He's not. He is at Sibenik, who are Croatian. He finally got that move back to the Croatian top division. Tell you what, he's not done too shabbily there, has he? Look at that, 16, 17, 12 goals in his 3.5 seasons. He was on the wane at Toulon, wasn't he? 17, 15 goals, then only 9, then only 4, then dropped to the second team. Good that he's still playing. How old is he? He's 30. Again, as soon as he announces his retirement, I will be putting out the SOS to him. So I think we've only got one more team to check in on, and that's Luzerne. Have they managed to retain their Swiss title now that we've left? They have, but it was tight by the looks of things. 83 points, level with Basel. They seem to have won the league with a goal difference of just 2 goals better. Who are they playing these days? Remember, we've robbed Muesli off them. We've robbed Garincha off them. And they sold Ott to Schalke, I think. They've still got Prieto. We bought him in on loan. Lorenzini. Chima. Oh, that old rascal. He's at the fairly determined personality now. Seems to have settled on that. This was a player that I'd bought in on a Bosman and we never got to see. Asta Vranks. Looks like he had a pretty mediocre first season. Don't really recognise these. Harak's playing on the left wing. Koufré leading the line. 17 goals in 35 games. I guess you'd say Luzerne have done pretty well for themselves. How did they do in Europe? Let's have a little look down here. Oh, well, first of all, it looks like they did the League and Cup double. That's not bad. Looks like they went out of Europe at the Champions League group stage, finished bottom. Barcelona, Liverpool, and Salzburg in a group. You can probably see why they only amassed 3 points. Well, let's get back to our boys then and what we've got to do. So we've got a little bit of wriggle room in the transfer market. We've got a £45 million budget. We have got fullbacks to buy. Maybe we've got a midfielder, a ball-winning midfielder to buy as well. We've got some tactical thinking to do over the summer as well. And we're also going to try and completely revamp the backroom team and try and get the board to build us some nice new facilities as well. All of that's going to be going on in the summer. We're going to see you for the start of next season, our second in the Bundesliga. And next season, we're chasing silverware. We're going for Champions League knockout round finishes. We're going for a German Cup. And we're going to try and position ourselves as the main challengers to Dortmund, and main challengers that don't this time finish a good 10 points back. We will see you very soon, and we're going to kick off a new season of Border Adventures.